The sirens of ancient Greece, the Pied Piper of the old folktale, the bards of Dungeons and Dragons, Jigglypuff. For whatever reason, people have been fascinated with the hypnotizing and healing power of music. But it begs the question, is something like this actually possible?
Yeah, no, not a problem. It's super easy. Just gotta know some brain stuff.
So for the longest time, eggheads and lab coats used to think that sound would go into your ears and then go straight into your auditory cortex, which is right about here. But in fact, this isn't totally true. The sound goes into your ears and then actually goes to a really specific part of your brainstem called the reticular formation, or the reticulospinal pathway, which is right about here, and then it goes into your auditory cortex. So why is this important? What does that mean? Well, your brainstem is the most primal area of your body. It controls your desire to breathe, your heartbeat, but also functions as the bridge between your brain and your spinal column, which tells your muscles to move. So the reason your body sends sound to your brainstem is actually an evolutionary defense mechanism. Neurologists call this the startle response. You probably know it as a jump scare. You hear a loud, scary noise, your brainstem gets shocked with a bunch of electricity from your ears, and your body launches forward. It gets you away from that immediate threat like a lion or a bear, or that weird chick who always wants to show you her collection of Harry Potter movie cards.
No, just me? Okay, moving on.
Anyway, it's the exact same concept as jump-starting a car. So what does this have to do with brain control? And if sound could directly control your body moving, why isn't there a 24/7 rave in the streets of Manhattan from all the noise generated from the traffic? Well, your brain is programmed to tune out constant noise. It makes it easier to communicate in general. Think about having a conversation with someone when you're at a red light. You don't hear the car engine or the radio in the background, and it's not that difficult to tune into whatever your backseat driver's saying. And even then, the signal to the brainstem is relatively minor unless you can somehow have a really loud sound from almost complete silence. But for whatever reason, this part of the brain responds really well to periodic sound, as in like a constant repetitive noise. So what if we created a periodic signal, or some sort of repetitive beat, and broadcasted it to a subject? The implication is that they get electricity sent to their brainstem, and then they'd want to discharge that electricity probably by sending it down their spine and into their body to move. I know what you're thinking, this is probably BS, right? And it's like, yeah, I thought the exact same thing. I thought it was total garbage when I first heard of this. That is until I saw somebody put it to a test. So, if a perfectly healthy subject wants to move because a signal is being sent from their ears to the top of their spinal column, what would happen if you had the exact same scenario with someone who suffered some sort of motor neural damage? So if we create an example, like take a patient who's really struggling with gait and play some sort of periodic sound, like a metronome click or some really, really simple music, their gait will actually improve in consistency and quality. This is actually known as Rhythmic Auditory Stimulation, or RAS for short, and it's a type of physical therapy for Parkinson's patients and stroke victims used by neurological music therapists across the country. Now, this isn't a cure per se, but it fights against deterioration and it offers some freedom to those who are otherwise bound to beds and wheelchairs. And although you're not sending ancient Greek sailors to their graves or commanding an army of legionary rats, you can actually control a part of someone's brain and make them move with music.